So this is just a very brief video on Taylor Devices and Kraken Robotics. So I have a small position in Taylor Devices, and you can find the video I posted on it. I think it was like 20 or $22 at the time, and about a year ago, and then it went up to 60 something, and now it's back down to the 50s or 45, I think it was last time I looked at it. So um, yeah, it's had an incredible run, and I think it's got more runway ahead of it. So just an update, I think um, from my research, I thought the structural segment looked promising, where they make kind of like giant shock absorbers for buildings, and it's the best in class for earthquake proofing these buildings. And normally when you install these in a building, they're kind of one-off projects, and you have to go to each place where you're installing this and walk them through everything, give them whatever they need, and it's sort of one-off approval each time. But Taylor Devices had spent several years um, going through something to get this special engineering certification, which the easiest way to understand it is that with this certification that these devices are sort of now considered like up to code. And so when you are installing these in a new skyscraper or other building in an earthquake zone, instead of getting these one-off approvals, they've sort of been signed off by this engineering uh, company or agency, and they have the certification so that if you wanted to put one of these in your building, you've already got that step taken care of for a company using these structural shock absorbers from Taylor Devices. But if you wanted to use them from somebody else, then you'd have to go through the one-off process, which is not only going to be more expensive but more time consuming. So I sort of thought that's a great tailwind for Taylor Devices. And that hasn't so far shown the growth that I thought, but Taylor Devices is up a lot because it turns out that their aerospace military side is growing gangbusters. Because if you watch the news, what's going on in the Ukraine and what's going on with the Houthis in the Red Sea, a lot of drone stuff going on, and um, Taylor Devices, they have a military arm, and they make the shock absorbers on the uh, Predator drones, which are these multi-million-dollar drones that are used, and they same company that makes the Predator drones came out with a larger drone, the Reaper, and Taylor Devices also makes the landing gear shock absorbers on those. So that's been doing really well. And so at this point, I'm just holding Taylor Devices. It's done really well. It's up over 100%. And well, actually, it's come down now. So it's not over 100%. I think it's up like 80%. But uh, I did trim some shares in my retirement account, as I said, because whether it's over a year or under a year, it doesn't make a difference. In my retirement account, I don't pay any taxes. So if there's a sudden jump in price, I don't mind selling something and buying it back later. And often, what I'll do in my retirement account, if I sell something, I'll buy the same amount in my taxable account. So I still have the same position, but I was able to lock in those gains in my retirement account. And then if it comes back down, I can take the loss in my taxable account, which you're not allowed to take losses in your retirement account. So it's just sort of a more efficient way to trade. And I did start a new position. I don't want to do a separate video for it in Kraken Devices, which I think has long-term potential also. So everyone is talking about air drones, but very few people are talking about sea drones. But they turned out to be very effective, and some of the successes that the Ukrainians had against these Russian warships is with sort of these jury-rigged jet skis or other boats that they turned into sea drones. And there's actually a company in the U.S. called Anduril that was founded by the guy that made Oculus and sold it to Facebook. And he was fired from Facebook, but he's got billions of dollars, and he started a defense company, and he's making really interesting things in the drone space. And one of the things that they make is a sea drone, a drone underwater like a sub but without people. And the Pentagon is really impressed with this. And what I've seen is they got a contract to build up to 200 a year for the Pentagon for 2025 and 2026. So they're building a new manufacturing facility in New Hampshire. And what's interesting about that is currently they buy the batteries for those drones from Kraken Robotics. And Kraken Robotics is a company up in Canada, and they make submersibles themselves, and these are used in the oil and gas and telecom industry. So, if you're laying fiber optic, or you're looking at your underwater drilling facilities to see if there's any damage, or trying to figure stuff out, they make the imagery equipment and these subs, and that's where they started. But other companies use their innovative batteries that they have, because if you're thousands of feet underwater, the pressures are immense, and the submarines have to work on batteries, and many of them wrap them in titanium or some other heavy thing, which keeps it from getting crushed under the incredible pressure of the sea, but also takes up space. And the more space you use for this casing, the less battery you have and the less time on the bottom you have. But apparently with Kraken Robotics, they have their own stuff, which is encased in some kind of silicon gel, which you can go deep, and it doesn't get crushed because it's some liquid. It's my understanding how it works, and these cost more than regular batteries, but they're best in class. And so people in the oil and gas industry that make their own subs, they will buy these batteries and put them in there, because you can leave your equipment on the bottom for 20 or 30% longer. And if you're dealing with these floating oil and gas rigs where they rent for hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, and something goes wrong, you want to fix it as quickly as possible. So if you are sending things down there, you want them to be able to stay down as long as possible, so you get this fixed and back online as quickly as possible. And generally, you're not that concerned about the cost if you have this increased performance. So for some of these subs that are being used, Kraken Robotics can get as much as $500,000. And I've heard, but I've seen no confirmation of this, that the underwater drones that Anduril is planning might be as much as $2 or $3 million per batteries per device. So unless they figure out a way to start making their own, which is just as good as Kraken's, and there are other people in this industry and they haven't been able to make as good batteries. So if Anduril keeps buying from them, you're talking about 200 subs at anywhere between $500,000 and $3 million a year. And this whole company is trading for about $200 million. Becomes a very attractive value proposition, especially if you think that, let's say, Kraken has well, I think they're about 43% profit margin, but let's call it 50% to make it easy. And you're paying this company and you love their product, but about half of it is going for profits for them. If you're going to pay them $100 million, why not just, at 50 of that is just profit to them? Why not just buy the whole company, and then you can keep that profit for yourself and also sell these batteries to other people. So again, 200 subs a year this year and next year that Anduril is selling to the Defense Department, and they're currently buying batteries from Kraken. So it looks attractive for two reasons. One is that could be a great source of revenue in the future, but two, they could make these guys a potential buyout target, because a lot of these subscale military contractors end up getting bought out. So Teledyne, which is a military contractor, wanted to get into the drone game. So there's a company, FLIR, that made drones, and Teledyne just overpaid so that they can have their IP, and now they're in the drone business. And if you are want to be the number one guy in the sea drones, which is currently an untapped market, you've got this contract with the Pentagon and you're buying these batteries. But if somebody else wants to sell stuff to the Pentagon or to the British military, Australian military, whatever, they can make their own subs and buy batteries from Kraken. But if you want to control the whole field, you could just buy out Kraken, and then everyone that wants to play in this pool, they have to pay you a fee. So that could potentially be a great acquisition for Anduril, which has bought some of their suppliers before, or for some other company like Raytheon or someone else that wants to be involved in this space. So as I said, I have about 1.5 position in Kraken Robotics, and I'm not saying buy or sell. I'm just saying, this is a position I have, and this is the way I looked at it. And initially, I bought a few shares just to keep an eye on it, because at the time they were predicting that they were going to grow revenue for the next couple of years, 40% a year. And that seemed interesting to me, but the price was way too high. But then, contracts started coming in. And then last time I checked, I think they were trading at like 20 times earnings or 22 times earnings. And for a company that's growing 40% a year, 20 times earnings did not seem outrageous. So then I took it to about a 1.5% position. And you might ask, like, well, why isn't it a bigger position? With some of these small companies, it's hard to trade them. So most of my money is with Merrill Lynch, and they will not let me trade Kraken Robotics because they say it's such a small company. So I have a smaller account with another broker, and they do let me trade this. And if I had more money in that other account, I would buy more, but most of my money is with Merrill, unfortunately, so I'm kind of limited with how much I can buy on this. And you might notice that, like, maybe Schwab or Interactive Brokers or Robinhood will let you trade things that your other broker can't. So, yeah, but yeah, so far so good on this. I think long term looks fine, and if the price stays where it is and I put more money in my other account, I might buy more. And if they keep executing well, I think eventually others will catch on to this and either buy them out, or the price will reflect what they're doing. I don't think I would make this more than a 2 or 3% position, and that's just me. However you size your position depends on how comfortable you are with risk and the return. So I don't think, if you're sizing a position, you should put the most money in what you think will have the biggest outcome. I think for these little 1, 2, 3% positions, you can put them in riskier things. But if you were to have, say, a 50% position, you wouldn't pick something that might go to 100x or might go to 0. You would pick something that might go to 2 or 3x, and if you lose, you might lose 20 or 30%. So you want to limit your risk on bigger positions and on smaller positions like this. And so for a company like Taylor Devices, which I talked about earlier, as I said, they're 10K, I think it was like 43 pages, and I've never seen one that short. And because they deal with military contracts, they're very secretive, so it's hard to sort of figure out what's going on there. So that's why I wouldn't take a large position there. Kraken Robotics, seems to be growing sales great, but they have borrowed money. They did issue more shares, and if you have a company that's doing great and not diluting, you're going to get rich. But if they're doing great and they keep diluting, that could work out very badly for you. So, as I said, with these positions, this could be great, or it's a small subscale thing. Somebody could come out with a better product. A lot of things could happen. And so with those smaller positions, you can go a little riskier, but as you go up and up, larger and larger positions, you don't want to look at how much you can make. In my personal opinion, you should look at how much you can lose. So, and just scale that up accordingly. So, with my larger positions, like my largest position is Google, then Berkshire, then St. Joe. And if you look at those three, none of them have debt. Well, Berkshire technically does have debt, but at the subsidiary level. So there's reasons for that. But if you look at all their debt and all their cash, their net debt is zero. Google has no debt. St. Joe has no debt. Coupang has no debt. Nintendo has no debt. And I think that makes me more comfortable taking a larger position because, as Peter Lynch said, it's hard to go bankrupt if you don't owe anyone any money. And with companies like this, which are smaller and they're borrowing money and selling shares to dilute you, you kind of want to be more careful. And that's sort of my approach to it. So again, this is just how I think of it, and me putting my thoughts down contemporaneously so that I can refer back to it and not misremember what I thought about it or succumb to thesis drift. But it's not me telling you how to invest, and you may have to make your own decisions based on your own research and your own risk tolerance and your circle of competence. So things that I might know about, like telecom or oil and gas, because I used to work in those industries, might be foreign to you. But other things that I have friends in the medical field, and they invest in things that I don't understand, and I wouldn't invest in them just because they invested in them, because it might be their idea and they can give you their idea, but they can't give you their commitment if you don't understand it. So you want to invest in things that you understand or your circle of competence, or you can learn enough about it to get comfortable, but not things that somebody else told you about, and then you just follow them into it, because even Warren Buffett has been wrong on times. And if some of the companies that he bought, like Dexter's Shoe, that have gone to zero, if they were public companies and you invested alongside him, you would have made a mistake. And the way you avoid those mistakes is not following anyone else, but understanding what they're doing and then making your own decision. So anyway, some more videos coming, but let me know what you think of Taylor Devices or Kraken Robotics. And if you disagree with anything I said, or you have some information that corrects some information that I put out there, please let me know, because I'm not infallible, and I always want to know if I'm missing something. So good luck out there, and we'll see you soon.